are wholeheartedly invited to join in this song. Eventually we'll get it going in a 2-part round, and if your calling is to add the third layer, you are absolutely welcome. Oh, when we come into our calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into your calling.
Oh, when we come into our calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into your calling. Oh, when we come into our calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into your calling. Oh, when we come into our calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into our calling. Oh, when we come into our calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into everyone else. Oh, when we come into your calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into your calling. Oh, when we come into your calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. We become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, when we come into your calling, we become bells, calling to everyone else. We become bells, calling to everyone else. Oh, come into your calling. Oh, come into your calling.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you all here. It's a lovely day. And a special day. My name's George Penfold. I'm with the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship. Some friends of mine are here today. Hands in the air. It's special for several reasons. One is this is an ordination service. How many of you out there have not been to an ordination service before? Quite a number. It's nice to have a new experience that's positive at this stage of our lives. The second reason it's special is that this service has been planned, is supported by, and is being conducted by 2 Unitarian fellowships. First Unitarian Fellowship of Victoria and the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship, and that apparently is also a rare thing. And the third reason, of course, is that this is our friend Arran's big day. This is the day that we'll help Arran begin the process. Arran, man, it's going to take forever for me to get that straight. To begin to cast off the chrysalis of student minister and grow his wings and learn to fly as an ordained minister, a religious professional. I expect many of you have gone through some kind of a similar process of being included into some kind of professional organization or gaining professional status, and you know what I mean when I say this is the beginning of the journey. It's rather a long and complicated process. But today's the start. You may already have some experience of this, Arran, from your previous occupations and the experience you've had here in Victoria and with us in Comox, but it's more than just getting the label, which will happen today. It involves a number of things. One is new career opportunities, which is more or less the whole purpose of going through the convoluted educational system and all the time and worry and money involved in that. It also involves a difference in relationships. You may find that some of the friends around you will start seeing you a little bit differently and move you into a slightly different place, sometimes even a very different place in their social and political landscape. And because of that, your social and political or professional landscape will change as well. And then of course, there's the whole process of growing your wings and learning that. It's it may take some time. In my experience, it took me more than 2 years, actually. I graduated as a civil engineer, went through the whole engineering association process with the I do's, I will's, got the iron ring, got the certificate, framed it, put it on the wall, and off I went to my first job, which was working for a provincial government providing free engineering consulting services to the agricultural sector, designing buildings and farm infrastructure and the like. And for the first couple of years, it was pretty mundane, actually. Not much very significant happened. I did do a couple of fairly big designs, but as far as I knew, they were never actually built. And then one day, a farm building contractor and his farmer client came and sat across from me at the desk and outlined a plan that they had for, I guess, what I would call a factory farm complex for pigs, swine, from the production of little piglets right through to the stage of shipping them off to create ham and bacon and all those things that we like. Took a couple of weeks to put all that together, and a contractor came and picked it up, and I gave myself a bit of a pat on the back and moved on to my next client. And then about 2 months later, I was out on the road going to visit another client, and I happened to drive past that farm. And there was that building about half completed. And there was a big moment of adrenaline rush. One of, wow, that was my design. And the other was, wow, I wonder if I got it right. You may recognize that moment. It was the moment of realization that the standard that I had in the educational system, whereby getting 80% of the class project was a great thing, was no longer the standard that that contractor or that farmer expected of me, or in fact, the standard that I expected of myself. And that's when I spread my wings and flew on down the road to visit my next client. I don't know how long that will take for you, Arran. I expect it'll be more difficult for you than it was for me, because I was dealing with sticks and bricks and mortar. You're actually going to be dealing with real people and their spiritual journeys, much more difficult, I think. And so to all of you here and online, wherever you may be, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here, not just to observe, but to witness this ceremony, to help Arran celebrate it, and to offer support to Arran and his family, not just today, but in the months to come. Thank you and welcome.
Good afternoon. It's always something to stand up here so high above. But thank you. My name's Karen Christie. I'm a member of this congregation and the Capital UU congregation in downtown Victoria. I'm very humbled to have been asked to speak as part of this service this morning, so thank you for that. Just take a deep breath. It's an opportunity for me to lead us all together as we acknowledge the lands on which we live. I invite you all to think about where you are physically at this moment. Maybe you'd like to close your eyes as you imagine what the land was like before contact with European settlers. You might even want to transport yourself to a more rural or natural environment. And you might want to close your eyes as you imagine where you are in another place, in another time. Are there trees around you? What are they like? Are they green, brown, tall, young, stunted? What about other plants and flowers? Are they blooming or not? And listen for the birds, and perhaps envision other winged wonders in the sky, in the air that we share. Are there any four-legged creatures you might be lucky enough to see? Or six-legged creatures? Or even eight-legged creatures? Are they there? Are they watching you, maybe? Or vice versa? If there's water in your image, are there fish jumping? What about other waterborne creatures that might be passing by? Let us pause to consider our good fortune. Here we are on the unceded lands of the Coast Salish people. Among them are the Lekwungen-speaking people, who include the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. There's the Wasanich people on whose lands this sanctuary is situated. And the Comox people up island, where some of you might be listening from and visiting today. From our hearts, let us extend our deep gratitude to the First Peoples of these lands and waters. Let us give thanks for these bountiful blessings, and may we do our best to live in right relationships with all. May it be so. And I believe the Comox congregation has a land acknowledgement as well. Not sure how that's working, but I'm sure it will. There we are.
Hi there. I'm Dan,
I'm Juliana.
and we're from the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship, and we're very proud to be able to give this acknowledgement at Arran's ordination. For thousands of years, Indigenous people occupied the shoreline of eastern Vancouver Island in a place they referred to as the Land of Plenty.
And we acknowledge that we meet here on the traditional territory of the Satlut, Tset'itla, Ayiksen, and Puntledge peoples of the Comox First Nations. We meet, play, and live with gratitude here.
I am the Reverend Samaya Oakley, and I use she, her, and hers pronouns. This landmass of Turtle Island that we live on is a large one. It ranges from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, from the Arctic Ocean and down to the Gulf of Mexico. It's easy to be daunted by the enormity of the grief of the world and the work required on this landmass and in the world. Ministry in this place that we call North America is separated by wide geography, and the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association, and in particularly the Unitarian Universalist Ministers of Canada, are the mechanisms to support ministers as we work for justice, live mercifully, and walk humbly in our ministries. And so, Arran, it gives me great pleasure as the president of the Unitarian Universalist Ministers of Canada to extend our greetings and blessings to you on the occasion of your ordination. We know that your ministry will enrich the lives of many with the gifts and the talents that you have offered and will continue to offer. We indeed are blessed to count you among us.
Hello from Portugal. I'm Reverend Amy Beltane and my pronouns are she, her. For our call to celebration today, I invite you to notice your breath. Notice the natural rhythm of inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Notice the life-giving breath that is moved on the river of blood within you. Moved on the river of blood within you to all the cells of your body. Breathe in, knowing that this breath comes to you from the trees, knowing that this air has traveled over oceans and mountains, nourished bees and beings and flowers and fruits all over this planet. Moved on the currents created by the movement of celestial bodies and the heat of the fire of the sun. I invite you to notice your particular story, your particular ancestors, family roots, spiritual mentors, and guides. Each one of us brings into the room our own network of people and places. Let us widen our circle of relationship to those who sowed and reaped and tended the fires in this place, to the congregational leaders of First Unitarian of Victoria and Comox Valley Fellowship, and activists who bent the arc of the moral universe toward justice. We are thankful for their callings and their challenge. They call us into accountability and responsibility. When we widen the circle, we call upon and honor the beauty of this place and the stories in the rocks and soil. We have welcomed this great cloud of witnesses to join us for the ordination of Arran Morton. Breathe in. Can you feel them? Come, let us celebrate together. Jen and JR, would you come forward to light our chalice?
We invite you to join in song as you catch on.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alara Stefaniuk Cadet, and my pronouns are they, them, and I have the great honor of being here. I'm so privileged to be here from Amiskwaciy-Waskahikan, which is colonially known as Edmonton in Treaty 6 territory in Alberta. And I have some friends to introduce to you today. Hi! My name is Spruce, and I'm really excited to be here. And oh my goodness, I haven't done an in-person service in so long! It's so exciting! And my pronouns are squee and squir, like squee and squirrel. And my name is Elm the Fairy, and my pronouns are she and her. And Spruce, what? You changed your pronouns again? Yeah, I did! So my pronouns used to be E, like the letter, and like but I thought that made me sound confused, and I'm not confused about my gender, so I changed it to squee! Well, I have to admit that for me, sometimes pronouns can be confusing because in fairyland, we don't use pronouns at all. What do you mean? We use names for everything, so every time we're talking about our friends, like the bees, or the butterflies, or the birds, or the crows, every single time we refer to them as their whole name. So it took me a really long time to understand that when people were using words like he and her and they and them and squee and e and all of the other pronouns, that who they were talking about, because I'm used to hearing people referred to only by name. Wow, you had to learn a lot to be here from Fairyland. It's true, I did, but you know what, Spruce? What's that, Elm? It was pretty exciting, and everybody was really welcoming here when I came from Fairyland, so it was important to me to understand because I really love all of you. And whenever I think about how much I had to learn, I think of a song from Fairyland. Would you like to hear it? Yes. Okay, so here's my song today. There's magic in the sacred ground and the waters that flow and the friends we've found. There's magic in the sky above. And what holds it all together in the center is love. Aw, Elm, that's a really beautiful song. Thanks, Bruce. I'm really glad to be here with all of you, and I love you all a lot. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm really happy to meet a whole bunch of you in person too, because it's been a really long time since I've been out in the world and I can fly. Thanks, everybody. That's our story for today. We love you a lot.
Good afternoon, everyone. What an incredible moment to be together. I am Reverend Danny Weber, and I work for the Canadian Unitarian Council as the Youth and Young Adult Ministry Specialist. And this is where I first started a relationship with Arran. We asked Arran if he would be interested in supporting young adults across Canada with pastoral care. Many young adults across the country are not connected to congregations, or they've moved away from cities that they grew up in, but still hold the values and ideals of Unitarian Universalism. And so when we needed to fill a position to support this work, Arran was willing to answer that call. More recently, however, I had the opportunity to get to know Arran a bit better when the transgender religious professionals of Unitarian Universalists Together, or TRUST, had their in-person retreat in San Diego this past November. It was my first time gathering with TRUST, having only recently made public that I identify as non-binary. TRUST is the organization that supports trans religious professionals in order to advocate for each other's ministry and transform Unitarian Universalism. Our time in San Diego was life-changing and so very affirming for me, in no small part to Arran's welcome into the community. And so it feels entirely appropriate that I am here to ask for your generosity to the two organizations that Arran has chosen for our offering, two funds that I have had the blessing to receive support from. First is the Theological Education Fund held by the Canadian Unitarian Council, which supports the development of new ministers and the expenses that are incurred by studying for the ministry. And I'm sure that I don't need to tell you that the costs incurred going to seminary, going through an internship, and even in the first few years of ministry after graduation are really significant. The second organization our generosity will support is TRUST. I'd like to share the TRUST's vision statement with you all. Born out of commitment to the gifts, safety, liberation, and leadership of transgender people, TRUST envisions a spiritual awakening that transforms Unitarian Universalism through worship, pastoral care, theology, education, and community, to the end that trans religious professionals and their ministries are thriving, and a new culture of solidarity and common purpose among Unitarian Universalists committed to countering intersectioning oppressions is flourishing. Our work to counter oppressions includes, but is not limited to, dismantling racism, sexism, ableism, homophobia, heterosexism, biphobia, transphobia, classism, ageism, colonialism, and sizeism. When I envision a future for Unitarian Universalism within Canada, we have made significant strides towards overcoming these oppressions, where individuals who are facing these oppressions are able to hear the call to ministry and receive the support they need to bring life to that call. As we continue to widen our circles and strive towards the beloved community that has been dreamt about for decades, I invite you now to consider your financial offering that you are able to contribute to this future. Baskets will now be passed through the sanctuary, and for those participating online, you will find details in the chat box on how to donate. Thank you so much for your care and your generosity.
We'd like you to know that Arran chose the songs that we're doing today and invites everyone to sing along with everything. Here we go. I'll have the lyrics up. Okay. Here we go.
I believe in the power of kindness.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Power of love. We don't know what's coming, but we can help shape what's ahead.
With kindness as our
Currency, the commonwealth is in our hands. So give a little, give a little, give a lot, don't stop.
A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Look up now, people, and keep your ears to the ground. We are the river flowing, generosity abounds. So give a little, give a little, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. The honeybees serve sweetness only to help the world bloom, bringing love to the flower, from the flower to the fruit. We can learn a thing or two. So give a little, give a little, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, power of love.
Hello, I'm Liz from Comox.
Hi, I'm Nicole from this congregation. I'm really honored to be part of this celebration today.
Please turn the microphone towards you.
How's that? Okay. Our reading today is May We Seek to Serve Life by Monica Jacobson Tennyson. We come today to gather together as Unitarian Universalists.
We come today to join in the spirit of love and the service of life.
We come today to be part of the stream of this living tradition. In our gathering, may we be blessed.
Our shared faith is made up of the people who gather.
Our shared faith is called by the beacon of love and justice.
Our shared faith is breathed into life by the questions and the actions of the people.
Through our faith, may we strive to use our hearts, minds, and deeds to bring more love, justice, and truth into the world. In the Latin hymn, Ubi Caritas, we sing, where charity and love are, God is there.
In this spirit, we affirm that when we gather in love and justice, we open ourselves to life itself.
In our opening, may we know ourselves to be blessed.
May we seek to serve life, each with our own gifts and in our own ways, always doing so in love. May we know ourselves held in the love that is always with us.
I offer my greetings to you from Kent, Ohio, where I'm visiting one of our congregations. My name is Reverend Sunshine Jeremiah Wolfe. I'm a short, fat, white passing, multiracial, non-binary human. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I'm wearing glasses, I have short brown hair, a salt and pepper beard, and I'm wearing a purple button-down shirt with a rainbow stole. As we enter into a time of reflection and sermon, I lean into the prophetic nature that is often expected of ordination sermons, the kind of troubling the waters before we kick Arran off into the world as if, he weren't already kicked out into the world as a minister. And as we enter into this time, I want us to think about what it means to be in community together. I think of the hymn by Shoshana Jedwab, "Where You Go, I Will Go, Beloved." She sings, "Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go." And these words come from the book of Ruth and are from the story of Ruth and Naomi. Ruth and Naomi come upon hard times. Their beloved husbands die. Many people that they're connected to die, and they find themselves alone. And while Ruth could have chosen to go off, find a husband, and make her own way, she chose instead to stay with the older Naomi, to stay in community and in relationship, even in the witness of uncertainty. And y'all, I don't know about you, but we are in some seriously uncertain times in this world we live in. We've got eco disasters on our minds, we've got worlds at war, we've got all kinds of things going on at the global level. We've come out of quarantine time and are in a different kind of phase with the pandemic. And everybody is a little uncertain of how to quite human because it's different humaning now than it was 5 years ago. And then we have the challenges of our congregations, which are the challenges of so many religious communities right now. Fewer people have returned than before, though we are growing more in our online capacity. We have fewer ministers because ministers are simply burned out. And we are dealing with so much that is just unknown about the future of religion, what the up and coming generations may want, that is so completely different than what has been before. And in the witness of all of that uncertainty, what does it mean to say that we will go together, that we will be together in community and choose one another? Choose one another, whether we're certain it will be in our own best interest or not. Choose one another, whether we think alike or love alike or live alike or not. Choosing to say yes in a world that so desperately needs our wisdom, our values, and our wonderings. And how do we know where we will go? Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where is that exactly? What is going to come 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now? We have some guesses, but we don't really know for sure. As the song says, I will go with you, beloved. And it's a zipper song. So beloved is meant to mean all kinds of people, refugees, children, ancestors, the earth, stranger, enemy, uncertainty, all that is beloved. And to think of beloved not just as that person you've chosen to spend your life with that, you probably argue with sometimes, whether that's a sibling or a life partner or a spouse or a child or a best friend or more than that or none. That belovedness is defined not in the characteristic of how we are emotionally in relationship. That belovedness is defined by how we choose to embody our values in relationship, how we embody that love within the be and the ed, beloved, to put love at the center of all that is sacred in our lives. Choosing one another means to ask, who is beloved? Is beloved just the people that I know? The folks that I'm comfortable in my church community or my family or the places where I go to live my values? Or does it mean being in relationship with people who, just rub me the wrong way or just make me sigh and want to dig my head into the ground or to shout out and say, no, not here? Who do we get to be in community with? I think in our church communities, it means saying that beloved means not just the people that we know in our congregations and in the communities we serve, but the people we do not know yet and who may join those communities. And to do that, it means saying yes to things that are different, to cultures and norms and values that we may not necessarily understand or relate to fully, but that we know when we choose to say yes to each other in meaningful covenantal relationship, that there be wisdom and hope and wonder. And just because I encounter your different value, your different belief, does not mean that I have to take it for my own. But I certainly hope it means we all are willing to be transformed by that experience. Who is the beloved here? Who is beloved? Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. How do we define who is your people, who is my people, who is divine? In the story of Ruth and Naomi, they come from different generations and different worlds, and yet they choose each other. They choose each other despite their differences, and maybe even embrace each other because of them. In our communities, I think we struggle with what we means. Does it mean that comfortable community we've always known? Does it mean the values that are always familiar? Does it mean doing the same kind of Sunday sandwich sermon thing that we have been doing for hundreds of years? Or can it possibly mean that who we are as people is when we're marching in the streets, or when we are texting people about what we think is valuable, or when we say yes to listening to the story of someone who has very different experiences from our own? How do we relate to the other, to that which is different? But even more than that, we have to be willing to say yes to the whole histories of the people with whom we join. For your people are my people means to say our histories, our stories don't belong to each other, but that we hold them. For your people are my people because I hold you in care and grace. Here in the United States, we have been talking a lot about the eighth principle, and I know in Canada a version of that has been adapted. And much of that process of reconciling with white supremacy culture and understanding racism, understanding anti-indigeneity and anti-blackness, and all of the kind of clusters of things that go around what it means to understand living in a hierarchical, racialized, patriarchal society, is that we need to hold each other's histories, the completeness of them. Not to just tell the stories of all of the horrible things, but also the wonderful things, and to hold them in balance, to have holistic stories that are rooted in the deep truths of the people they belong to not be told by the victors or the historians who think they know most, but by the communities themselves, who are collecting their own stories and their own histories and sharing that witness, who are telling us, look, when this happens, this is the impact on my body and the bodies of all of the people like me. For your people are my people means that your joy and your sorrow are not my joy and sorrow, but are mine to behold, to witness to care for, and to respond to within the capacities of my own energy. It's a willingness to say yes to changing the world in which we are born into one which we dream about. The meek Vulcan is a person who works in trauma work and conflict transformation work. And one of the things he calls for is us to have reparative leaders. Reparative leaders are those that choose to engage in helping heal communities, to helping repair the woundedness and the brokenness that comes from generational trauma, historical and systemic trauma, from all of the kinds of ways in which we might not communicate most effectively each other, and saying, if we choose relationship, if we put love at the center, if we hold our interdependence and our values of connection close, then we have to be leaders who are willing to help repair the world of which we are a part. To repair the world of which we are a part. And that means to be witness to the woundedness and to the things that build resilience. Reparation is about holding those things which have caused harm and holding those things which will help us be strong and faithful communities. I've seen so many of our congregations make decisions like, we're not going to have worship on the fourth Sunday of the month. Not because they don't believe in worship, but because they're wounded and tired and they need some time off. It's just too much work to try and do everything every Sunday. And so on that fourth Sunday, they have gatherings and celebrations, song circles and drum circles. They have multi-generational events that are about joy and wonder and hope and connection. And it builds that resilience and that capacity so that they can continue to do the important work. It is about letting our rest be our resistance, in the word of Tricia Hersey, about letting our pause be the community of which we dream, so that when we take those collective pauses together, we have the energy to do the rest of the work that we want to do in our lives, to live our values wholeheartedly. And by doing that resistance, by doing that restful resistance, that reparative work, we transform the world. We transform away from patriarchy, away from racism, away from transphobia and heterosexism and all of the things that injure and harm and hurt. We say no more. We slow down and breathe. We, shall I say, get rid of that Christian worth ethic that says we are only valuable if we do and do and do, and say yes to the wholeness of all that we are. I think of the work of Priya Parker in the book Art of Gathering, and she talks about how important it is when we are gathering together that we focus on our needs. And in religious community, people may come to us for some degree of community, but they can go to anywhere for community. They don't need us for that. Their needs have to do with a loss of a loved one where they're heartbroken and they don't know how to carry it on, or where they've had a crisis of their own faith. Maybe their faith in their family has been broken and they don't know how to carry forward, or their faith in, the wonders of science has not met their challenge with cancer, or they're uncertain about what it means to believe in anything at all. They come to us because they live in a world where their values are not being met. They need us to hold them and be present to them. To be needs focused is to be values focused, to hold forth that in front of us that says what you think, what you believe, what you hold in your heart of hearts and mind of minds and spirit of spirits is the most central thing. How does our congregations meet those needs? For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. Your divine, my divine. Oh my goodness, what does that even mean? Your divine, my divine. That can mean all kinds of things with us Unitarian Universalists, because we have folks for whom divinity is science and physics and math, and we have folks for whom divinity is family and connection and relationship, and we have folks for whom divinity is the earth and the plants and the birds and the fish and all of the things, and we have folks for whom that is God or goddess or a whole bunch of gods and goddesses or a whole bunch of deities or theities or all kinds of things. You're divine. And how are we supposed to make all of that ours? Your divine, my divine. We do that by letting people hold their wholeness, share their witness of what they experience as divine and say that is wonderful and miraculous, even if it is not exactly how I think about the world. It is my divine because what is meaningful to you is sacred. And it holds so many meanings. And I want to be careful because I know many of the people who actively are involved in our communities have experienced spiritual abuse, have had that sense of divinity held and harmed them. And if we're talking about holding people in their wholeness, in their woundedness and their joy, then it means we hold people in that place of spiritual abuse as well. So when I think of divinity and I think about holding someone else's divine, I think of the words of Emmanuel Levinas, who's one of those fringe philosophers that I promise you don't want me to quote because it would make your head hurt. I mean, it took me 6 weeks just to read a chapter of this guy and understand it, right? But the one thing that I hold really close, he talks about in his writings on an allergy to the other, that we have an allergy to difference, to that which is unfamiliar or makes us kind of uncertain. And we've all experienced that where we come across someone who just thinks about the world so completely differently than we do. And we're like, this doesn't feel right. That's that moment. But the other thing that he says is that when we encounter the other, when we encounter that difference, there can be a moment where if I am talking to you and I start to hear you for how you think about things and not how I think about things, that in that moment, the space in between us is where God lives. Now, Emmanuel Levinas is a Jewish philosopher and has a very specific understanding of what God means for him. And in his writings, what he's saying is that that's that place where God lives. But I think I would say for any of us, that's where the sacred lives. That is the most powerful and holy moment. And for the sci-fi geeks among you, it's grokking, right? To grok another person, to understand them fully and completely, regardless of your manner of understanding. And that's hard to get to. And it doesn't mean that we're going to have 100% like grokking of people's divine beliefs all of the time. But that if we search in curiosity and humbleness and wonder with each other, that those moments can become possible. And those moments are grace-filled and transformative and holy. And nothing can help a person feel more welcome and connected than having that held. I think of a Raya mountain dreamer who says, I want you to be with my pain and your own without trying to hide it or fade it or fix it. And I will tell you the number of times I've shared my values and been met with, I love you if you are this person, but the very critical, like, I'm going to argue with you your beliefs till kingdom come because that's how I live my values, when all I really want you to do is just hold and listen to what I believe. Boy, howdy, right? So the like uber philosophers who just want to wrestle with the ideas and like, kind of come back with a devil's advocate mindset. And I'm like, this isn't really helpful right now because what I just want is witness. And then maybe once I felt that held, I would want to share that with you. And you may have had that experience where you've been sharing your ideas and it's met with skepticism. And what you really need is not for them to believe you or agree with you, but to support you in your own values. So we want to focus on the needs of the people. The needs of the people who come to us and the varieties and diversities of values and faiths and beliefs, but in divinities that are about sacredness and connectedness and wholeness. Not to be right, not to be highly academic, not to have one way to do church, not to say this is the way we have to do all things, or if you don't do things the way I'm comfortable with, then we can't have church or we can't have things go the way everybody else wants them to go, but to really let the diversity of our faith traditions live loud. Because I don't know about you all, I'm seeing this all across the world, this notion of a fundamentalist way of being, that there is one way to think and one way to live. And more, if we say in our communities that all these different values and these different beliefs, and particularly that of younger generations, who have their very own unique ways of connecting, that are the future of our religion, what are we willing to let go of, to let them lead and meet their needs where they are and not just the places where we have felt comfortable and safe? So I'm going to sing that hymn one more time through, and feel free to sing along if you're comfortable. I'm not in the sanctuary, so I can't make you sing it, but I encourage you to do so. It goes like this. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. May you all cause wonderfully good trouble in this day and all the days to come. May you try brave new things that are totally uncomfortable and yet somehow amazing. And may Arran push every boundary that people need so that they can be the best people they can in his work and all the work to come. Cause good trouble, my beloveds. Amen. And blessed be.
As ever, we welcome you to sing along.
Good afternoon. As you can probably tell, I am not Jim Willis. Jim sends his regrets. He's not well today. My name is Audrey Taylor, and I'm the vice president of this church. An ordination is a spiritual event of great magnitude, both in the life of the individual ordained and in the communal life of the congregation and faith tradition. Within the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the authority to confer ordination lies wholly with the local congregations. In this case, Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship and the First Unitarian Church of Victoria have jointly agreed to co-ordain Arran. Thus, will this assembled congregation, those in this room and those joining us virtually, please rise in body or in spirit as you are able, so that we may ordain Arran Morton. Arran, please join us at the pulpit.
Arran, it's with joy and an appreciation of our responsibility that we recognize your call to be a Unitarian Universalist minister as your life's vocation. And among us, wherever you are called to serve in the future, we would have you speak truth to love, ministering to those you accompany in their times of grief and grace, tending to your soul while guiding others on their spiritual journey. In accordance with the principles of our free faith, we would have you dedicate yourself to the highest values of life in fostering love, compassion, and justice in yourself, your family, with us, and in the world. Arran, are you ready to enter into this covenant of ministry?
I am.
Members of these assembled congregations, please join me in saying the words of ordination as they appear on the screen. We do hereby ordain you, Arran Morton, to the Unitarian ministry. We charge you to serve and to lead in the spirit of compassion and reconciliation, and to journey a pilgrim's path with hope and gratitude. We have supported you in ministry and walked with you in the spirit of love, respect, and trust, in the spirit of our covenant. This covenant has bound us together and binds us to the living traditions of our liberal faith.
With a deep sense of obligation and gratitude, I joyfully enter into the Unitarian Universalist ministry for which you have ordained me. Thank you for your confidence and trust. I pledge to be mindful of both the privileges and responsibilities ministry brings. I will strive to be true to the principles of our faith and to cultivate the ways of love, empathy, respectful relationship, and spiritual growth amongst us and with all people. This is my sacred vow, witnessed this day by you all.
Reverend Arran, this stole is a gift to you from these two congregations. It signifies and celebrates the importance of this transition. They're not quite wings. It was made by me. I don't sing, but I sew. I put the CUC logo with the flaming chalice on one side to represent your dedication to our Unitarian Universalist values and faith and our movement in Canada. The pride flag is represented in the colored bars on the lower portions of the stole. I hope when you wear it, you will remember us in love and faith and in good health. Hope it works.
You may be seated. Arran has been ordained. Arran has been ordained by the members of these Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been given a stole as a visual symbol of this ordination. Now all of us get to partake in an embodied blessing, the laying on of hands. Connection is integral to UU theology, and connection is integral to Arran's ministry. He is particularly gifted at collaboration, building connections within communities as they co-create together. This ritual gives physical form to the power of interconnection. Reverend Arran Morton, will you come forward, please?
What we are going to create here is a multi-layered, interconnected series of circles around Reverend Arran. First family, then religious professionals, then everyone. I'll call you forward in turn to get in position, and then later, during the blessing, I invite you to physically connect with one another, to place a hand on the arm or back of someone near you, so we're all connected together through one another to Reverend Arran. As each group is called forward to get in position, please be mindful of letting those with wheelchairs or walkers go first, so they have the space they need to get where they need to go. If you prefer to remain where you are, seated or standing, that's okay too. If you're not comfortable touching when the blessing time comes, feel free to offer the energy of your blessing with palms outstretched or whatever feels comfortable for you. Folks joining on Zoom, if you can, please turn on your cameras so we can see you with us when we put the Zoom gallery up on the sanctuary screen. Let's begin. I first invite Arran's inner circle, Arran's family, Arran's partner, Jen, their child, JR, if JR is in the room, that's okay if not, and Auntie Extraordinaire Anna, as well as JR's uncle, Niall, Auntie Eli, and cousin Asha. Gather round. Nice. Now, Reverend Arran's colleagues, religious professionals of all sorts, clergy, DREs, ministerial students, all religious professionals up here on the stage as well. Thanks. Now everyone, gather in, come around, enough to touch, but not yet touching. Those who feel comfortable doing so. You can come in front too. Arran would like you to come in front. Gather round. Just get close enough to touch, but not yet quite touching. And you can be in front too. That's totally fine to be in front also. Okay, Arran. I know this might go against your grain as an introvert, but I invite you to take a moment to look around you, behind you as well. Look at the faces of those joining on Zoom. Look at the people gathered around you here in the sanctuary. Even if you can only see an elbow or the top of someone's head, feel the presence of all these supportive souls surrounding you who have showed up for this momentous occasion, the day of your ordination into Unitarian Universalist ministry. Beautiful. I invite everyone to now get connected as we prepare for the blessing. Place your hand on the arm or back of someone near you or otherwise linked together so we're all connected through one another to Reverend Arran, physically or energetically. Zoom folks can extend your hands to the screen. Please join with me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's begin by calling on the connections that sustain each of us. I invite each of you in this gathering to bring to mind all the people who have supported you on your own life path, from childhood through youth and adulthood. Conjure up an image of the people who have loved you along the way. Dear friends, special family members, supportive colleagues, boisterous toddlers, encouraging mentors, people you carry with you, living and no longer living, ancestors by family and by spiritual connection. Let's lift up gratitude for all these people and for the ways in which they helped Nurture your loving heart, your loving self, which you have brought here to this moment. Now let us turn the focus of our love and support to this new minister in our midst, Reverend Arran Morton. We love him as a human, as he joins the long tradition of Unitarian and Universalist ministry. We bless him as a minister. I invite the gathered community to call out their blessings. Those on Zoom can type into the chat. As Reverend Arran embarks upon his ministry, what do you wish for him? Shout it out. It's okay if words overlap or repeat. Reverend Arran, may you be blessed with
Deep peace of the running wave, sheer vast, invisible spirits of nature.
And let us feel the palpable hush of the silent blessings being sent along as well. Reverend Arran, dear colleague, when things get hard, may you remember this moment. May you remember the love and support that surrounds you today and that will continue to be available to you as you live into your ministry in the years ahead. May all who come into contact with your ministry feel their connections strengthened. Connection with the still small voice within, connection with one another, connection with the larger web of life that holds us all. May it be so. Blessed be. Let us return to our seats as Reverend Deborah Thorne prepares to offer the hand of fellowship.
Congratulations, Arran. The mantle of ministry is upon you. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Arran into the collegial circle. Each minister in this room and those online join me in this welcome. And to the circle I call those who have inspired and supported your formation over the years. It was at the vibrant UU neighborhood congregation in Toronto where your beloved colleague, Rodrigo Emilio Solano Quinel, inspired you to take up ministry. May his presence be with us now. And in our tradition, it is the members of Trust, transgendered religious professional Unitarian Universalists together, and UU Ministers of Canada and the liberal religious educators who have seen you, held you, challenged you, and encouraged you to find the strength of your ministry rooted in love and justice. May their presence be felt amongst us now. Today you're stepping into that circle of professional ministry, of colleagues as an equal. The hand of kinship I am about to offer you comes with the understanding that we who live and labor in the tradition of ministry are made stronger and braver because of the covenant that we share together. How each of us lives our lives, the choices we make professionally and personally, strengthens or weakens all of us. This bond is a form of love. As Bell Hooks writes, a combination of care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust. From this praxis of love, we, your colleagues in ministry, welcome you and covenant with you. Welcome, Arran.
Reverend Arran Morton. Such a joy to be able to say that today. It was a pleasure to be your internship supervisor and watch you deepen into your ministry. I am honored to offer a charge to you. This charge is in 4 parts, drawing on the elements of air, fire, water, and earth. Let us begin with the element of air. I charge you to listen to the wisdom of your calling. Your call to ministry is expansive and open to parish, community, and institutional ministries. Trust that your call will lead you to what is next. Let your ministry respond to the needs of the world, drawing on all of your experience and creativity to minister in this uncertain time. Fire reminds us of the power of our calling and that it is both beautiful and dangerous. As important as it is to follow our calling, it is also important to not be consumed by it. Take time away from ministry and remember your boundaries. We talked quite a bit about those. They are there to protect you and those you serve from harm. I next call upon the water. As you journey into ministry, I charge you to remember those who have loved you into this place. Ministry can often feel like lonely work, but you are not alone. Your family is there for you. You have colleagues ready to provide support and assurance, and friends who can remind you who you are. All of us want your ministry to thrive. So rest in these loving waters, especially in those times when you feel you are alone. Finally, I draw upon the earth. I charge you to maintain your grounding. Spend time connecting with the natural world. Engage in a spiritual practice. You are in the midst of transition, and as things change, you need to find the things to keep you grounded. Make art, light a candle, perform a ritual, make time for joy and play. These are what will sustain you in the difficult times of ministry. Dear friend, as you grow in ministry, may you draw upon your calling, your boundaries, and the community of love that surrounds you, while maintaining practices that ground you for the work ahead. May you continuously feel these blessings of air, fire, water, and earth in your life and ministry. Blessed be.
It's coming towards the end of our time together of this celebration, and I'm Reverend Deborah Falk. I use she, her pronouns. And Arran asked me to offer a charge to the congregations because I have a relationship with both congregations. Shared the position of DRE at this congregation, as did Arran, and worked also with Comox Valley Unitarians. And so, a charge to the congregations. For while ministry is a calling of an individual's heart, it is grounded in the community and the individual responding is called forth out of a congregation. Reverend Arran has been nurtured by many communities, has already been expressed, and particularly the Comox Valley Unitarian Fellowship and Victoria First Church. The mutuality of this relationship is demonstrated by both congregations offering a co-ordination. The act of ordination is one of the most significant ways a congregation demonstrates its authority and acts and enacts our congregational polity. In our tradition, it is only the congregation that can grant this honor. It is both joyous and a solemn act as well. In doing so, you create forever a relationship with Reverend Arran. From this day forward, he carries the title Reverend because you are bestowing that honor upon him. And you do so because you see his gifts and want him to go forward and share them. Remember all that you have learned in your relationship with Arran, and I will let you know that those rememberings will keep coming upon you. But I offer here, as my charge to the congregation, a few of those potential learnings, certainly that I have been blessed with. First and foremost, and you won't be surprised to hear this, lead with love. Hold fast to his constant lessons about sharing and about ministry and a shared ministry, for it will only succeed if we collaborate. I charge you to look for and nurture each other's gifts, as Reverend Arran has so well done. And when leaders emerge in your community, wonder deeply about how to support, challenge, and engage them in sharing their gifts and the responsibilities of leadership. Remember, it is a shared venture. Be willing to hear different ideas and perhaps be changed by them. This sometimes involves intentionally seeking out differing perspectives and welcoming the voices that are sometimes or often silenced or at the margins. Invite all voices to be heard. Oh, and also avoid letting one particular voice dominate. That's a responsibility we all have. And this is a muscle that we build. Be willing to try different ways of doing things, of doing church, of doing life. Be open to yet to be imagined possibilities. This I also hear Arran's voice regularly say. So share, welcome, imagine, and always wear your love-colored glasses. Congratulations, Reverend Arran.
So I'm going to share some closing words with you. And then after our final song, we invite you into the Lion Hall for tea and coffee. Sometimes it comes as a quiet whisper. So quiet you need to still your life. Hold your breath a moment to hear its heartbeat, to invite it in, to listen fully. Sometimes it comes with the noise and energy of waves crashing on the rock in a storm and turning your back or pretending it's not there will lead to danger. Sometimes the path is clear and straightforward as a prairie highway, where you can see storms ahead from hours away, although rarely in my experience. Sometimes the path twists and turns and has a proclivity for fog, making you slow down and search for your next step. However, you are called to create, to embody change, to embody the change you wish to see in the world, to share yourself, your gifts, and to be nurtured and held by the interdependent web of all existence. Beloveds, may you have the support of a loving community, as none of us can do this alone. May you draw strength from the earth that will keep you grounded in everything you will do. May you gain the flexibility of the oceans and seas that will always find its way through all obstacles. And may you be inspired by the sky to dream big, to move forward to the future we've not yet imagined. May it be so.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope.
Don't give up hope.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Don't you give up.
Don't you give up.
Keep moving on.
Keep moving on.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
And lead with